Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Audio Man Dark Stories. Today we're going to be checking out the video from Killer Chronicles. It's called Body Count, the Street Soldiers in a Mafia Race War. Holy smokes. Let's check it out, folks. Shout out to Killer Chronicles. Go like the video. Do what you got to do. Let's hop right in.
Shot black people, you got raised out, long hair, you want to get shot too. That's the way it is. There's something racial going on around here, man. You can say that.
It was the night of January 10th, 2022, and a man named Fernando Arroyos was getting ready to leave his home for what he and his fiancée hoped would be a life-changing evening. At 27, Fernando's life to that point had been defined by excitement and preparation for the future. He had grown up in Los Angeles, graduating with honors from Crenshaw High, the same school attended by LA legends like Darryl Strawberry, Ice-T, Schoolboy Q, and a host of other pro athletes. He had attended UC Berkeley and graduated with a degree there, then returned to his hometown to fulfill a dream he'd had since 10 years old, becoming a member of the famous and at times controversial Los Angeles Police Department. He had sought higher education despite only around 1% of police departments requiring one. And now here he was, nearly 3 years into his career, earning more than $100,000 a year in salary and benefits.
Congratulations. Sounds like a productive guy, man. Wow.
As a cop. He was ready to settle down and start a life with a woman named Angela Mendoza, whom he'd used to serenade and joke with that if policing didn't work out, he'd become a singer. LAPD didn't require their officers to live.
I think if I remember correctly, there was a time where the LA, like Los Angeles, was the most one of the most dangerous places in America. I'm sure there were other places that were more dangerous, but I think there was a point, man. Was it like the 70s or 80s where gang violence was rampant, man? Or is it still ongoing?
Where they worked. Fernando Arroyos just wanted to. They headed off to 1712 East 87th Street, hoping to catch a new home before it entered the market. But before he left that day, Fernando Arroyos packed his service weapon, a 9mm pistol. He also placed a $200 chain around his neck. Then he and his sweetheart headed out into the night. Fernando and Angela didn't know it then, but elsewhere in Los Angeles, 3 men and a woman had loaded into a car, also armed with pistols, out patrolling the streets, looking for trouble.
Oh boy.
They were part of Los Angeles' oldest and most notorious gangs, affiliates of the Mexican Mafia, known for creating an empire of illegal gambling shacks, underground pot dispensaries, and even drawing condemnation from anti-racist hate watch groups. They had originated as little more than a group of street robbers looking to make a buck, in the same vein as these 3 members on that night. The gang is called Florenzia13, and its brief encounter with Fernando and Angela would have tragic repercussions, causing a political fallout that publicized years of brewing tensions between conservatives and progressives about law and order and the true definition of justice.
I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think some people are just prone to violence, prone to chaos? I don't know. I'm yet to make up my mind, but I do believe that there are some people that just cannot be saved. You know what I mean? Like some people just seem to have this propensity or rather tendency for violence, for danger. I don't think it's a racial thing. Now this is a race thing. I mean, it clearly states in the name, the street soldiers in a mafia race war. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe they mean race war as in like, you know, who's going to finish first. But my point is, I feel there are pockets of every group that are just irredeemable. You know what I mean? Like these are the people that are so happy to join violent gangs, do violent things, be a nuisance. You can put them in rehab as many times as you want. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything.
This is the Killer Chronicles. As Fernando Arroyos and Angela Mendoza were out house hunting that night, 3 Florenzia13 members were out hunting for robbery victims. Their names were Luis Alfredo de la Rosa Rios, aka Lil J and Lil Malo, Ernesto Cisneros, aka Gonzo and Spooky, and Jesse Contreras, aka Skinny Jack and Flaco. Also included in the bunch was Rios's girlfriend, Haley Grisham, a Houston, Texas native who was basically on vacation with Rios. Rios was...
You literally... What? Your vacation with your boyfriend included going to rob people? You see, this is another thing that I say to people, bro. Like, these bad boys, these gangsters, bro, they stay having women. They stay having women, bro. They stay having women. These bad boys, gangsters, man, that women say they hate, they don't like, my God, they have women around them like crazy. Apparently, they even have a kid. Or they had a kid. Insane work.
Living in Texas at the time, but he'd grown up not far from Fernando Arroyos and under similar conditions. But throughout his life, had fallen into nearly every pitfall that the young officer had managed to avoid. He'd moved around a lot as a child, even having the misfortune of residing in Acapulco during a cartel war, where he'd witnessed beheadings and other brutality. He dropped out of school at age 13 and started using cocaine, Xanax, and meth. Then returned to LA, where he, his cousin, and 2 brothers all joined Florenzia13. By 16, he had met the woman who'd become the mother of his 3 daughters. By his early 20s, he had traveled to Houston to work drywall jobs with his dad and attempted to distance himself from the gang.
Okay, I mean, yeah, well, attempted, so it didn't work. But, I mean, yeah. Another thing that you learn very quickly about gangs is that they are not... They may say that they are brothers, but they are really not brothers. Because what they like to do is they want to keep you at the same level they are at. So if you, let's say, for example, these guys you see on the screen, right? Let's say this guy decides to say, you know what, guys, I want to go to school. I want to improve my life. I want to go get a certificate. Because I believe you can always change. I believe that. I believe regardless of your age, you can drastically improve your life, in my opinion, right? If you decide to say, look, I'm going to spend 20 to 30 minutes every single day to learn a new skill. I'm going to, take online classes. I'm going to get, for example, IT, right? In IT, you don't necessarily need a degree anymore. For some, you kind of do. But you can literally dedicate 1 year to build labs, get free tenants on Microsoft, for example, do the exams, and you are qualified to potentially be, a help desk or an IT supporter, tier 1. You can do that. So imagine if this guy in blue shirt decides to do that. Do you think these people are going to be like, yeah, we wish you well, bro? No. Because all of them are bottom of the barrel. All of them are low class. They're going to pull you back, or they might even unalive you. That is why I don't understand gangs, bro. Especially in 2026. I don't understand what gangs are all about. I don't understand what gangs are all about. Because it's 2026, especially in America. What are you doing? Especially black gangs. I know they're not black, but especially black gangs. What's your goal? What's your goal? You don't have any power. You don't even control the illegal trade. You don't control anything. That is why I don't understand the point of black gangs. And the funny thing with black gangs is they only attack and oppress other black people. They never go after whites, Latinos, nobody else. They only go after black people. They have no territory. They have no illicit trade that they dominate. They don't dominate. I'm not saying they take part in it, but they don't dominate any aspect of the illegal trade, especially in the West. I see black gang members in the UK. Like, what are you doing? You're going to get arrested anyway. You're easy to find. There's not a lot of black people in the UK, so they're going to find you anyway. Or when I see black gangsters in America standing on the corner side, talking about, I run this block. No, you don't. That block is owned by the white man. It's owned by the Jewish man, by the Indian man. That corner store that you're standing over and acting like you run it is owned by the Indian guy, by the Asian guy. You don't run it. So I don't understand the point of black gangs. But bringing it back to this point, these are not your friends, man. They're not your friends. They want to keep you on the same level as they are.
In Houston, he met Haley Grisham and started a relationship, which naturally caused distance between him and his family. By 2022, he was 28 and was using as much of a half an ounce of cocaine every day and taking Seroquel to dull the effects of the drug so that he could sleep at night. He was completely broke, more or less a servant to his drug habit, and reconnected with Florenzia13 members hoping to...
There you go. So they keep you hooked. What did I tell you? Broke, drug addicted, nothing, no future. No future. He could have gone to rehab. I'm sure if he reached out, they would have found some things to help him out. But he didn't. He goes back to the gangs. And they're more than happy to have him back because now he's dependent.
To make a couple $1,000 in street robberies while back for a family gathering in LA. Around 2 a.m. on January 10th, 2022, he and Contreras had robbed two people for about $2,000 outside of the El Norteño bar, an area Florenzia13 claimed as territory. And by that night, they were out looking for more victims, this time enlisting Cisneros. When they spotted the $200 chain on Arroyos, they pulled the
but why you got? I don't know, man. I mean, why you got to wear a $200 chain in a dangerous area, bro? And you're a cop. You should know this. I mean, earlier in the video, the narrator mentioned cops are not expected to live where they work. But bro, sometimes you gotta leave that place, bro. I can't lie. I can't lie to you. Some places are you have to love it and appreciate it from a distance. I'm not saying you don't contribute, you don't support it. You can hop in and hop out, right? You don't have to live there. Because you gotta understand, man, these environments, this low value environment like the ghettos or the hoods or the favelas or wherever you want to call it, regardless of the country, because this type of neighborhoods exists around the world, guys. Don't think it's just America. It exists on every single country on this planet. And if you have the luck and the privilege to make it out of there, you don't look back. You can support it, you can love it, you can give money, you can support organizations. You can. There are many ways to do things, guys. But the reason I am against people who have made it out to live in those places, you are a threat. You are a target. Because the people that are there, they may see you as somebody who made it out and they are jealous of you. You could be a nice person. You could be a very nice guy, a very nice woman. You could be the nicest, sweetest apple pie, as they say. But they are still going to come at you. This is what happened to Nipsey Hussle. I don't know if you guys know who Nipsey Hussle is. I'm going to try and put maybe like a picture of him and what happened to him on the screen. He was a rapper. You know, I don't remember the neighborhood, but he made it out, became a very successful rapper. He went back there. I think he lived there. He had businesses there. And somebody came out of nowhere and shot him. Jealousy. It happens. So I'm of the suspicion that this is what happened to the fella, man. It's sad, though.
Truck over, and Cisneros and Rios got out of the car.
Sad.
They threatened the couple, making off with Arroyo's wallet, his chain, and Mendoza's walking stick, which one of the men promptly discarded. The media would later report that the men inspected Arroyo's wallet, learned that he was an LAPD officer, and brutally shot him. Then,
oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Ah, unfortunate, man. Unfortunate, Arroyos. Unfortunate. So they would have let him go if they realized if he was not a cop. Unfortunate, man. Sad. He did nothing wrong. Just living his life. And then these bums, these three fucking bums, decided that, yeah, you're gonna... Okay, fine. I mean... unfortunate. They would have let him go if he was a civilian, because I mean, what are you gonna do? Well, he's a cop, and he's probably gonna come after them.
in there. As we'll
Crazy.
explore, that's not actually what happened. But as the robbers...
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's why you gotta listen first before you talk. But hey, this is why I love true crime. I love true crime, guys. I am a true crime lover. It goes like this. You know, you never know what's gonna happen in true crime. And of course, it's a dark topic. I might come off excited. I'm just a fan of true crime. I'm not trying to downplay the severity of this case. But I love true crime. I'm an enjoyer of true crime. And I think that's why hopefully this channel becomes bigger than it is right now, more engaged. Because I want to bring together an audience of true crime fans. You know, not necessarily the true crime, how do I put it? True crime elitists, you know, but people who just enjoy to watch and learn and have some empathy towards the people that are affected by this, you know?
neared their getaway car, there was an exchange of gunfire. Arroyos was shot once in the chest, and Cisneros and Rios were hit as well, with Cisneros suffering a broken femur and Rios a graze wound to his torso. The robbers were able to make a getaway, leaving Arroyos to die in his fiance's arms. The killing of an off-duty LAPD officer drew the type of response one might expect. Governor Gavin Newsom issued a response, stating Arroyos, quote, died a hero and his selfless bravery will never be forgotten. The homicide had occurred in sheriff territory, and a huge manhunt was launched. Rios, Cisneros, Contreras, and Grisham were in custody within days. But it wouldn't end there. For the next several years, and continuing today, the killing has placed Florenzia13 squarely in the crosshairs of Los Angeles law enforcement. Because, while Cisneros, Contreras, and Rios may have simply seemed like three misguided drug addicts out for a quick buck, their gang tattoos told police a different story. Florenzia13 has existed practically since the concept of street gangs came to Los Angeles. In Southern California, especially LA, gangs exist like a food chain, where the bigger fish eats the smaller one. And in LA, the biggest fish is the Mexican Mafia prison gang. The 13 in Florenzia13's name signifies its allegiance to the Mafia, also known as La M. But like the Mexican Mafia, Florenzia13 had grown in influence and notoriety enough to slowly engulf smaller gangs and convert them into F13 cliques. These included the Jokers, 64th Street, the Termites, the Midnight Street Boys, the Bear Street Malditos, the Huntington Park Locos.
Can I be very honest, guys? I look at gang members as kids who never grew up. I don't know if you catch what I'm saying. You know, like, now I understand sometimes you become a gang member as a result of, your environment, right? But I get it. I'm not trying to downplay that. But there are some people who had good childhoods, good upbringing, but still decided to be in a gang, right? And it's like, I look at you as emotionally unstable. I look at you as, you're yearning for attention, guidance. So you jump to the gang because you want to feel like you're part of something. And I don't know, it just comes off as very, very like stunted growth behavior, Like you're a grown man writing different things on your body, doing hand signs. And it's like, buddy, you're 44, you're 46, you're 32. Bro, go get a job, man. Get a job, run a business, do something. And then you're going to go on the streets and be a nuisance to the people, to the men and women and society that are trying to improve their lives. Like Arroyos just got killed because of 3 men who refused to grow up, and now he's dead after working very hard to build himself to where he is today. Make that make sense.
In the tiny Locos clique, which Rios had joined as a teen. Initially boxed in by the Imperial Highway and 3 freeways in the Florencia Firestone neighborhood, the gang's territory has only grown larger with time. Their leaders, or shot callers, have fluctuated over time, perhaps most notably including Arlene Rodriguez, a real estate agent dubbed the Queen of Florencia, who assumed a leadership role in the gang and worked closely with incarcerated members during an incredibly tumultuous time. In the early 2000s, Florenzia13 became involved in a race war, not just against rival Crip gangs, but what expanded to a green light order from the Mexican Mafia to simply attack, harass, or kill any black person who is living within F13 territory.
What?
There are different stories about how this started, including a prominent one about how a black gangster robbed a Hispanic gangster, coupled with rumors that the robbers were actually Florencia and 38th Street gang members who painted their faces in blackface to fool the victims. Whatever the case, by 2004, it was well known around LA that Florenzia13 the Avenues, and other MA-affiliated gangs were targeting black people en masse, drawing the type of condemnation and attention that's usually only reserved for white supremacist groups.
They see you bald, dress code, you're gonna get shot. Black people, you got raised out, long hair, you're gonna get shot too. That's the way it is. There's something racial going on around here, man. You can say that.
The Southern Poverty Law Center added Florenzia13 to its Hate Watch series. In 2006, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed hate crime and murder charges against the Avenues. And in 2007, the LA Times brought the conflict to a national audience, officially dubbing it a, quote, race war, and a front-page story coupled between an update on the Iraq War and a controversy about Ellen DeGeneres' dog rescue center. The reporting made it clear. Florenzia13's goal wasn't simply to kill Crips, who happened to compete with their drug customers, or go body for body with a rival gang. They were driving black people from their homes in Florencia neighborhoods, in what basically amounted to a campaign of terror. With that in mind, it might be surprising to some that Fernando Arroyos would seek to buy a home within the territory of a gang that was so emboldened.
That was stupid, dude.
But from what everything his loved ones said about him after his death, he truly believed in the idea that in order to be a force for good, you have to become the solution. And
No. That's the thing. That's the thing with these people, bro. You have to love it from a distance. You have to love these things from a distance, bro. I swear to God. Because you have that mindset. And I agree with Arroyos. And I agree with him. You have to become the shining light. But you have to also consider the environment you're in. Right? If you're offering gold to a group of people who don't know what the fuck gold is, you think they're going to appreciate it? No. You have to appreciate it from a distance.
And live by example. At any rate, court records from the criminal case paint a pretty clear picture of what happened that night. The foursome drove in a truck with obscured plates. When they noticed Arroyo's chain, prompting Rios to say, "Let's get it," they stopped the car. Contreras passed a gun to one of the men, but stayed behind, as Rios and Cisneros got out and committed the actual robbery. Like they'd done that morning, they were heading away, still armed, but basically assuming that they'd gotten away with it, when Arroyos pulled his service weapon out and fired at the fleeing.
Oh, man. Oh, bro. God damn it, Arroyos. Man. Man, Arroyos. Man. You should have been, bro, you had, I don't, guys, what do you think? Should you have done that? I don't think you should. Let him go, and then you figure it out later. You're with your wife. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that, bro. Let's play that part again.
Still armed, but basically assuming that they'd gotten away with it, when Arroyos pulled his service weapon out and fired at the fleeing bandits.
Bruh, I think that's where he fucked up, in my opinion. That's where he fucked up. Let him get it, let him go. I mean, you have your wife with you, for God's sake, dude. You have your wife with you. Let him go. Make sure your wife is safe. Take her home and then deal with it the next time. And then move. I don't know, man. I think you shouldn't have done that.
They returned fire, and by all accounts, Cisneros' gun jammed, meaning that Rios is all but certainly the man who actually killed Arroyos. While Arroyos had every legal right to do what he did, since the robbers hadn't yet retreated to safety and technically ended the robbery, this wasn't what the media had widely reported, where the men executed Arroyos upon learning that he was an LAPD officer. However, as the case progressed, another interesting coincidence surfaced. About 10 years earlier, Contreras' older brother, Robert Contreras, had received a $5.7 million judgment from LAPD after 2 officers shot him. In that case, Robert Contreras had been involved in a gang-related drive-by shooting when the officers caught up with him near a Jack-in-the-Box, but shot him once in the leg during a foot chase, then continued to shoot him an additional 4 times after he limped a short distance and collapsed to the ground. After losing in court, LA police complained to the media that the jury wasn't allowed to hear a hearsay statement from someone in the car about everyone's alleged gun possession. Robert Contreras pled no contest to attempted murder for the drive-by. After Grisham, Rios, Cisneros, and Contreras were identified as the culprits, the political fallout began. Sheriff Alex Villanueva, a political lightning rod during his 4-year tenure, made the controversial decision to take the case for prosecution to the U.S. Attorney's Office rather than the L.A. District Attorney, and Villanueva bolstered this by completely going on the offensive. The central focus to all of this was an ongoing debate about the role of the justice system, arguably the most important part of any civilization. As a state, California's relationship with criminal justice has been something of a seesaw over the past 50 years, leading to all sorts of contradictions and wildly different outcomes for defendants depending on what era they were charged. In the 70s, people were paroled at such a high rate that murderers often got several opportunities to kill again before they were given effective life sentences. In the 90s, young men were incarcerated for decades over relatively petty offenses, or even infamously given life sentences for third strikes that were for little more than theft. As of late, California has reformed its justice system by scaling back the felony murder rule that allowed non-killers to be prosecuted for murder when their cohort in a robbery kills someone, restricting the use of gang enhancements, stopping prosecutors from using rap lyrics as evidence, and allowing the prison system to award higher percentages of good time credits to reduce sentences across the board. Simultaneously, a so-called alliance of progressive prosecutors formed in San Francisco, Contra Costa, San Joaquin, Los Angeles, and eventually Alameda County. 2 of these DAs were later recalled, while both Contra Costa DA Diana Becton and Los Angeles DA George Gascon were subjected to heavy scrutiny from law enforcement and conservative groups. Gascon came to LA from San Francisco, a large city that has some crime, like fentanyl trafficking, gang shootings, and people drugging strip club patrons to rob them. But this pales in comparison to LA County, where there will be about 1 murder per day on average during a good year. Gascon has shied away from sentencing enhancements, and Villanueva said he was concerned that the progressive DA would...
The Latinos run California, it seems, bro. The they run that state. What are black people doing, man? Holy shit, man. Like, God, what do black gangs do, for God's sake? Like, I keep hearing, like, how they're tough and the this and the gangster and G, but, bro, you're getting smoked by everybody, man. Fuck.
Wouldn't have sought a high enough punishment
Jesus
for
Christ.
Arroyos. When the feds stepped in, no one fought their case. Grisham pleaded guilty to accessory, and her sentencing records were promptly sealed, leading to speculation that she had cooperated against the others in the group. There are records saying she gave a statement to investigators, who also placed undercover officers in jail cells with the defendants to elicit statements from them. Rios confessed, pleaded guilty, and seemed to accept the fact that his life was effectively over. Cisneros and Contreras followed suit. Attorneys for the men highlighted their sad lives, arguing that Cisneros and Contreras were low IQ high school dropouts who lacked sufficient...
No shit. Fucking bums. I hope you rot in jail.
...sophistication and basically used drugs to deal with personal
goddamn idiots.
...tragedies they had experienced, such as Contreras losing a child to SIDS and having to take care of his brother, paralyzed by an LAPD bullet. As a boy, Contreras loved dogs and cared for strays he found on the street until the owner could be located, his attorney wrote, evoking a metaphor, perhaps, of lost young men who ended up joining gangs and ruining their lives. Angela Mendoza wasn't sympathetic to their plight. Flanked by Villanueva and another supporter.
No, fuck them. Don't be sympathetic to them. They're idiots. They decided not to work on themselves, and now they've taken somebody else's life. Go to hell and rot in there.
She said the experience of being robbed and watching her loved one die
made
her realize that PTSD and trauma are not just, quote, textbook jargon and non-existent. It makes me question why these worthless defendants are still here and Fernando isn't. There is not an ounce of pity I feel for any of them, and sir, I hope you do not show them pity either. Arroyos' mother spoke out, quote, as a mother, I can't even look at these people. In my heart, I forgive them, but there's God who sees everything. U.S. District Judge Percy Anderson gave 50 years to both Rios and Cisneros, and 35 for Contreras. In his remarks, he railed against gang violence, and even referenced the failed attempt to assassinate Donald Trump that had happened 6 days earlier, before concluding, quote, the lives that have been lost to these gangs and drugs the way people are forced to live, literally behind bars in their own homes for fear that they'll be hit by some stray bullet, fired by some crazed addict who wants to feed his habit, or some gangbanger seeking to protect his product or his turf. Or you may be simply wearing a chain. Since that day, federal prosecutors have ramped up efforts to go after Florenzia13, including an indictment aimed at their alleged new shot caller, Celerino Jaramillo, aka Busy. He was charged with arranging murders, even allegedly admitting on a wiretap that he committed several, with prospective F-13 members to prove their mettle. He allegedly ran gambling houses, extorted marijuana dispensary owners and other businesses, making himself part of an extensive taxation system run by the Mexican mafia and its affiliates. Bluntly told one business owner, quote, "You're in our neighborhood, and we don't go by that government, we go by our government." During raids, police found evidence he was involved in drug trafficking and gun possession. They also found 2 envelopes, one containing $37,000 for Leonel Laredo, aka Wizard, a Mexican mafia member and alleged leader of Florenzia13 within the prison gang. The other envelope also contained cash. Authorities say it was addressed to Spooky, aka Ernesto Cisneros, a sign that the gang still supports a man who will likely die in prison for participating in the murder of an LAPD officer just 4 years ago.
No. Shout out to Killer Chronicles, man. I really appreciate the documentaries. I appreciate the coverage. You guys are awesome. Go like, subscribe to them if you wish. They're awesome, man. Thanks for watching.